The trees loomed above, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching for the moon. The air was heavy with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, but it only made the darkness feel more oppressive. Gabriel stood at the edge of the clearing, his eyes fixed on the figure waiting for him. Alara's hair was a wild tangle of black locks, her skin a canvas of scars that seemed to shift in the flickering torchlight. She beckoned him closer, her eyes glinting with an otherworldly intensity. Gabriel felt the familiar shiver run down his spine as he approached her. He had seen the things she could do, the horrors she could unleash with a mere thought. And yet, he couldn't help but be drawn to her, like a moth to the flame that would consume it. "You've been waiting for me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Alara's smile was a cold, cruel thing. "I've been waiting for you, Gabriel. You have something I need." Gabriel's hand instinctively went to the small pouch at his belt. The weight of the artifact inside seemed to grow heavier, as if it sensed Alara's presence. "What do you want it for?" he asked, already knowing the answer. Alara's eyes flashed with an unholy light. "I want to bring the darkness to the surface. And you, my dear Gabriel, are going to help me." Gabriel's heart raced as Alara's words hung in the air, heavy with promise and menace. He felt the pouch seem to burn with an inner fire, as if the artifact within was stirring, sensing the approaching storm. "You know I can't give it to you," Gabriel said, trying to keep his voice steady. But Alara's smile only grew, her eyes glinting with a knowing light. "Oh, but you will," she said, her voice husky and confident. "You owe me, Gabriel. You owe me for the secrets I've shared, for the power I've given you. And now it's time to pay the price." Gabriel's mind raced back to the night he'd stumbled upon Alara in the swamp, her eyes blazing with an otherworldly energy. She'd taken him under her wing, taught him the secrets of the old ones, and given him a taste of forbidden power. But at what cost? As he hesitated, Alara's gaze seemed to bore deeper, her eyes searing into his very soul. The air around them grew thick with an unseen presence, the shadows twisting and writhing like living things. Suddenly, the torches surrounding them flickered and died, plunging the clearing into darkness. The only sound was the soft rustling of leaves and Gabriel's own ragged breathing. In the sudden blackness, Alara's presence seemed to swell, her power coursing through the air like a palpable force. "Refuse me, and you'll know true darkness," she whispered, her voice a cold breeze in Gabriel's ear. "Give me the artifact, and I'll spare you the agony of the abyss." Gabriel's heart raced as Alara's words seemed to wrap around him like a cold, dead hand. The darkness seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, as if the shadows themselves were alive and waiting to strike. He felt the pouch at his belt, the artifact's weight growing heavier, as if it too sensed the precarious balance of power. In the darkness, Alara's presence loomed larger, her presence a palpable force that seemed to fill the clearing. Gabriel's skin crawled with a creeping dread as he realized she was summoning something, a power that lurked just beyond the veil, waiting to be unleashed. With a jerky motion, Gabriel's hand closed around the pouch, his fingers tight as a vice. He took a step back, the darkness seeming to writhe and twist around him like a living thing. "No," he whispered, the word barely audible. "I won't give it to you." Alara's laughter was a cold, mirthless sound, like the rustling of dry leaves. "Foolish boy," she hissed, her voice dripping with contempt. "You think you can defy me? You think you can contain what's been unleashed?" Suddenly, the air around them erupted in a frenzy of movement, the shadows coalescing into dark, twisted forms that seemed to writhe and twist around Gabriel. He stumbled back, his eyes wide with terror as the figures drew closer, their presence a chilling manifestation of Alara's power. "You should have given it to me," Alara whispered, her voice a cold breeze in Gabriel's ear. "Now, you'll see the true meaning of darkness." As the twisted figures closed in, their dark forms blurring together into a living, breathing entity, Gabriel felt the artifact pulsing in his hand. It was as if the relic sensed his fear and was responding in kind. The air seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy, the shadows dancing with an unnatural power. With a jerky motion, Gabriel flung the pouch away from him, the artifact bursting free in a flash of blinding light. The darkness recoiled, the twisted forms stuttering backward as if repelled by the sudden radiance. Alara's eyes flashed with anger, her face contorted in a snarl. "You fool!" she spat, her voice like a crack of thunder. "You'll pay for that insolence." The artifact hovered in the air, pulsating with an intense, golden light. It was as if the relic had become a tiny sun, casting a warmth that seemed to thaw the very fabric of reality. The darkness recoiled, the shadows screaming in anguish as they were forced back by the artifact's power. Gabriel stumbled forward, his eyes fixed on the glowing relic. He felt a strange sense of connection to it, as if the artifact was calling to him, urging him to take control of its power. But Alara was not so easily deterred. With a snarl of rage, she raised her hands, and a dark, swirling vortex erupted around her. The air seemed to tear apart, revealing a glimpse of a realm beyond their own, a realm of twisted, nightmarish horrors that seemed to claw and writhe in the darkness. "You may have the artifact," Alara hissed, her voice like a rusty gate, "but I have the power of the abyss, and with it, I'll drag you screaming into the depths of madness." The vortex swirled around Alara, its dark tendrils reaching out like grasping fingers. Gabriel felt the artifact's power surging through him, his heart pounding in time with its pulsing light. He raised his hands, and the relic responded, unleashing a blast of golden energy that crackled through the air. The two forces clashed, the darkness of the vortex colliding with the light of the artifact in a spectacular display of power. The air seemed to shatter, the very fabric of reality torn asunder by the conflicting energies. Gabriel stumbled back, his eyes seared by the intensity of the battle. Alara's form was obscured by the swirling vortex, but her presence was palpable, her malevolent will driving the darkness forward. The artifact's power surged again, and Gabriel felt himself lifted off the ground, his body a mere conduit for the relic's energy. The golden light blazed brighter, illuminating the twisted, nightmarish forms lurking just beyond the veil of reality. Alara's laughter echoed through the vortex, a cold, mirthless sound that sent shivers down Gabriel's spine. The darkness seemed to be gaining ground, the shadows deepening and twisting into grotesque, living things. Suddenly, the artifact's power spiked, and Gabriel felt himself hurtling forward, the relic's energy propelling him toward Alara. The vortex engulfed him, its dark tendrils wrapping around him like a shroud. In the heart of the vortex, Gabriel confronted Alara, her eyes blazing with an unholy intensity. The artifact's power still pulsed through him, but it was no match for the abyssal energy that Alara commanded. "You are no match for me," she hissed, her voice a cold wind in Gabriel's mind. "You are but a mere mortal, and I am the queen of the abyss." Gabriel's mind reeled as Alara's presence seemed to expand, her power coursing through the vortex like a dark, living entity. He felt the artifact's energy waning, its golden light faltering against the crushing weight of the abyssal forces. Alara's eyes seemed to bore into Gabriel's very soul, her gaze a piercing cold that threatened to consume him whole. He tried to speak, but his voice was lost in the howling vortex, his words torn from his lips by the screaming winds. The darkness closed in, a suffocating shroud that threatened to extinguish the last flickers of Gabriel's consciousness. He felt himself being pulled apart, his mind screaming in terror as the abyssal forces tore at his very fabric. And then, in the depths of the vortex, Gabriel saw it. A glimpse of the abyss, a realm of endless, screaming darkness that seemed to stretch on forever. Alara's power was a mere fraction of the horrors that lurked beyond the veil, horrors that waited with open arms to claim Gabriel's soul. As the abyssal forces closed in, Gabriel's vision began to fade, his screams lost in the howling vortex. The artifact's energy was the last thing he remembered, its golden light flickering like a dying ember as the darkness consumed him whole.